Okay, so this is one of my non-reviews, as a commenter recently commented. I'm following my interests rather than checking out every detail that you can get from the webpage anyway, linked below. Other reviewers are available. But I think that you'll learn something from this non-review that you won't hear elsewhere. There's something to think about. And while you're thinking, let's unbox it, taking it slow this time. Now, what you should expect from the Fosi ZD3 is that it does what you expect. It converts sliced and diced digital audio into a beautifully smooth analog waveform. It does it at a level of quality where few people will be able to hear any significant degradations. I can't, but bear in mind that at my advanced age, my hearing is likely to be degraded itself. So maybe take the advice of younger reviewers on sound quality. But why am I suggesting that you can take this lovely DAC and degrade its performance? You see, this is what I find interesting. Did you notice in my unboxing that there are 3 spare Opamps in the box? I don't know whether this will just be for the early promotion or a permanent thing, but here they are, and I want to talk about them and play with them. The purpose, as you know, is for Opamp rolling, like tube rolling, where you can get a different sound texture from a different tube. This is most definitely a genuine thing, as I know from tube microphones, where even 2 identical models can come to sound different as the tubes age. But tube rolling is one thing. If I might like to start a controversy, tubes are at the edge of their abilities when designed into hi-fi audio circuits and equipment. So you can expect different models of tube to sound different as they push into and perhaps beyond the envelope. Controversy. Oh dear, I've started another one. What about Opamp rolling though? Surely if Opamps became a thing in audio the best part of half a century after tubes, surely they will all be working so much inside the envelope of audible acceptability they won't sound any different to each other. Well, that is patently not true, since the venerable LM741 has significant limitations that you will quickly find out if you try to design it into a circuit. It's noisy, you won't fail to notice that. It has a poor slew rate, so it can't track the waveform of high-level, high-frequency signals. It turns the smooth curves of the rising and falling of a sine wave, for instance, into straight lines. It has a poor gain bandwidth product, which limits the effect of negative feedback increasingly at higher frequencies. But then came the NE5534 and its twin op-amp cousin, the NE5532. Also the TL071 and 072 and the 081 and 082. I've had fun in the past playing with all of these, as have high-end audio designers. We're getting into the zone where everything is good enough and no one's going to notice the difference. Well, I say anyone. I could say anyone but audiophiles. But if anyone can hear issues with any electronic device, it needs improvement. The ultimate in excellence is a very worthy target to aim for, even if it's beyond the perception of most people, including me. So what about the Fosi ZD3? I have the op-amps. Shall I roll them or not? I think I will. But first, with my +4 reading glasses, I inspected the 3 bonus op-amps closely. JRC 4580D. The D, I believe, indicates the dual inline packaging. So what's inside is a 4580, same as any other version. So to save a byte and help save the planet, I'll just call it the JRC 4580 or 4580. Okay, so if I roll the op-amps inside, get rid of the bog standard ones and replace them with the 4580, I'll get better sound, right? This is where it gets interesting, and I said that I was going to follow my interests. The op-amps that are factory installed in the ZD3 are LME 47920. I looked up some specifications. Let's take a few important specs. Firstly, noise. We can measure noise in nanovolts per root hertz. We don't have to understand that 100%, just that lower is better. Of course, lower noise is better. I wonder if any commenter would disagree. So, 4580, 4.5 nanovolts per root hertz. 49720, 2.5 nanovolts per root hertz. Almost half in voltage terms. Half in voltage decibels is 6 dB. And that much less noise is well worth having. Not that the difference necessarily makes it all the way to the output, but clearly less noise inside any device must be better. Okay, slew rate, the speed at which the output can swing in volts per microsecond. As I said, this is important for high-level, high frequencies. 4580, 5 volts per microsecond. 49720, 20 volts per microsecond. Clearly faster is better, but it's slower enough. With the aid of my handy calculator, I find that a 20 kHz sine wave at 28 volts peak to peak requires a slew rate of 1.76 volts per microsecond. Actually, ChatGPT calculated that for me. I'm sure we all know that ChatGPT has limitations, so feel free to check this with your vintage TI. But we can see from what we have here that the classic LM741 at 0.5 volts per microsecond isn't good enough. The 4580 is good enough by a margin. The 49720 is way better than good enough. Way better is how I like it. One more spec, the gain bandwidth product, which is the frequency where the op-amp's gain without feedback drops to 1. 4580, 15 MHz. 49720, a whopping 55 MHz. The 741, in comparison, a measly 1 MHz. Again, I'm going to say that more is better. Better is better. According to these parameters, the 49720 is a much better op-amp than the 4580. And if you like to judge things by how expensive they are, I had a quick scan of eBay, and you can pick up a 4580 for £3.65. A 49720 for £3.16. I nearly misspoke. That's £3.16 for a single 49720, £3.65 for 10 4580s. Judge it how you like. So yes, I've been having a bit of fun here, but let's have some more fun. Taking the ZD3 apart is a bit fiddly. But if you know that you need to remove all of the screws on the rear panel, pull the knob and undo the nut holding the encoder in place, then take out the 2 screws on the bottom of the machine, then you can remove the front and rear panels and wiggle the circuit board out. Oh, and you'll need to undo the antenna. I managed all of this with 2 Allen keys and a pair of pliers. Where are my nut spinners when I need them? I know I have them, but the answer, as to so many things in life, is they're probably in the shed. Here's the inside of the ZD3 with the original op-amps. and now I'll change them for the 4580s. It's fiddly, and I lost my Opamp extractor some decades ago, so I think it's best I don't video the swap. But I can play you examples. Commenters in the past have quibbled and asked me for a natural sound source. So here's me reciting a poem in Abbey Road Studio 2. Quibble with that. I'll play the 4580 first, which should in theory be lower in quality. Then the 49720, which should be better. Here we go. I wandered lonely as a cloud that floats on high o'er dale and hill, when all at once I saw a crowd, a host of golden daffodils. Beside the lake, beneath the trees, fluttering and dancing in the breeze. I wandered lonely as a cloud that floats on high o'er dale and hill, when all at once I saw a crowd, a host of golden daffodils. Beside the lake, beneath the trees, fluttering and dancing in the breeze. Did you hear a difference? I uploaded my video with a wave soundtrack to give you the best chance, although I have no control over what YouTube does to it. I'll play the examples again to give you your best shot. I wandered lonely as a cloud that floats on high o'er dale and hill, when all at once I saw a crowd, a host of golden daffodils. Beside the lake, beneath the trees, fluttering and dancing in the breeze. I wandered lonely as a cloud that floats on high o'er dale and hill, when all at once I saw a crowd, a host of golden daffodils. Beside the lake, beneath the trees, fluttering and dancing in the breeze. And here's a fun thing. I've overlaid the waveforms of the two files and zoomed right in. I'll click between them. Yes, I do see a difference. This might be in the audio that's flowing through the opamps or some other variable I can't account for at the moment. I'm really not sure I can hear any difference at all, but for me I'd go by the specs and use the better opamp, the LME 49720. If you agree with me, you can buy the ZD3, use it as it is, and put the 3 spare 4580s in a display case on your sideboard. Are we all happy now? What do you think? See you soon.
On the bottom, you have a bypass switch. I don't know really what that's for. I thought it would bypass volume, but it doesn't look like it does because you still get volume control even when you're in both modes.
Nigel, if you had actually tested it, you'd have found that bypass does indeed bypass the volume control. Did you test it?